Hello, this is doctorarjaybe, and today I wanted to talk about a topic which is actually very common, but may not be known that well. It goes by the abbreviation of NAFLD, which means non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now, fatty liver disease is a disease where fat becomes deposited in the liver, and a little bit of fat in the liver basically can be used for energy. But when you have a lot of fat in the liver becomes irritated. Now, anybody who has ever gone to a fine restaurant and had foie gras has had fatty liver for his dinner. Fatty liver in the goose is done by overfeeding the goose, force feeding the goose, and all of those calories basically get deposited in the liver, and you have this liver which is the consistency of butter. I'm sure some people find it tasty. I personally thought it was disgusting when I tried it. But any event, in the human, the process for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is kind of similar. Excess calories and especially intra-abdominal fat causes the problem. When you have that beer belly appearance where the belly kind of sticks out all the time, and the fat is not only underneath the skin but inside the abdomen, what really happens is that the fat accumulates over all the organs, the liver, the kidney, the stomach, and what happens is that some of that fat is mobile. Our fat cells are actually kind of like sacs. They have the normal cellular, organelles like the nucleus of the cell, which contains the DNA, and some other organelles that gives the cell its energy. But there's also a large area that contains the storage for the fat. And fat is actually stored in a liquid type state. It's not solid like, say, the fat that you see on the steak. The fat that you see inside the abdomen is actually kind of liquidy. And so the person has some of this fat that travels to the liver, and to prevent the fat from going to the organs like the heart, the lungs, the brain, the liver acts kind of like a filter and prevents the fat from moving any further. So fat winds up getting stored in the liver, and when you get enough fat, they call it fatty liver disease, basically. Now, fatty liver disease sounds like it might be harmless, but fatty liver disease actually is a big cause of cirrhosis of the liver. And it competes with alcoholic fatty liver disease for the development of cirrhosis. Because non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is so common, and it can also be associated with excess weight and also sugar problems. It's just a very common condition. Now, the sugar problems I mentioned, any kind of fatty liver disease increases the likelihood of developing diabetes. And this appears to be because when the instructions are given to the liver to adjust the sugar, when you have so much fat around, it kind of gets in the way of the liver's ability to manage the sugar. And so people have a tendency to become diabetic. Basically, this is a condition that can cause problems. Even if it doesn't cause diabetes, it can cause cirrhosis of the liver. And of course, that causes issues just in and of itself. The way to not have fatty liver disease is, calorie control, the cutting back of junk food, and exercise. Exercise can use the fat in the liver for energy. So you can actually clean out your liver of fats by exercising at a moderately intense level and doing enough exercise. You can kind of clean out the liver. That's the real way of kind of treating this is calorie control and exercise. Okay, so like I said, this is something that's becoming very common because of the obesity epidemic, and we see it now in more and more people. Take care.